Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this very special episode of Extra Special Live. Now, for those of you that have totally forgotten all about this, this was a series that I started during the very beginning of the very first lockdown, where I decided that because we were all going to be kind of away from work, away from school, away from, most ordinary life, that I would start doing this, where I would live stream, we would talk, we would chat, you guys could ask questions, and I could show you things. I could do some basically extra stuff that I would normally do on a Sunday, but I spread it over different points of the week and did some extended extra shows and that kind of stuff. So that's what Extra Special Live was all about. Well, I've decided to bring it back. And the reason why I have decided to bring it back is right above my head there. Today, in fact, already, it is out there already. You can already go download this. Fender Studio is now live. It's now actually released. You can go and get this from the App Store of choice. So if you are a Mac user, you can get this from the Mac App Store. If you are an iPad, iPhone kind of person, then you can get it from the App Store on the iPhone. If you are an Android person, you can get it from Google Play, which is exactly what I did for my Android phone. I have it on here as well now. If you are a PC person, you can also get it on your PC via the Microsoft Store. It's dead easy to go search for it in those app stores and then just download it. And it's absolutely free. You don't have to spend a penny on it. And what you get is a pretty handy, nifty, I think is the word to describe this, little app for basically just doing some capturing of ideas. Is the way I like to think about Fender Studio. It's the perfect little app for capturing ideas when maybe you're not at home, maybe you are at a practice session, or maybe you are in a recording session, or maybe you are just basically elsewhere, away from your studio, away from your regular recording gear, and maybe you're on the road or something like that, or you're on holiday, you're at the beach, and you have a little idea that's popped into your head and you want to get it down. You want to get it recorded. Well, now you can. So accompanying this launch is this little device, which I don't have yet. I'm still waiting for mine to be sent to me, but I don't have it yet. And it's called the Link IO, made by Fender as well. And it's very cool because it's basically it's like a little guitar interface, and you can basically plug your guitar into this thing and you can connect the other end of it to your phone or to your iPad, and it's very, very, very cool indeed, actually. And it just means that you can just totally connect nice and easily, and you can capture your ideas. Now, you don't have to use this Link IO thing. You can use the microphone that's built into your device to capture your ideas. If you just want to get something down rough and ready, you can do that. And it has built-in EQ, compression, expansion, so you can deal with room noise, you can tidy it up, you can make it sound a little better than it does just using just the built-in mic on the iPad. I've done that. I went to my dad's place and I just recorded him playing some acoustic guitar on the iPad app, and it sounded great, actually. And I was basically pointing the iPad at his guitar from about 10 feet away. And then I used some EQ, some compression. I used the expander to dial out some of the extraneous noise. And you know what? We ended up with a reasonably clean sounding recording. I was quite impressed by that, by what it could do just to capture my dad basically just working out an idea on his acoustic guitar. It was great. It meant that he had an idea and we could immediately record it. We didn't have to start up his laptop and then, you know, plug in his audio box and his speakers. And then we didn't have to then launch Studio One and wait for it to load up and then create a new song and then create new tracks and all of that, which is all fine and good. Doing that is not a big deal. But in this particular case, he just had a spontaneous little idea that he just wanted to be able to capture. And it's just like, well, Fender Studio is perfect for that. It's tailor-made for just being able to hit the record button and go. And you're getting your idea down. Because it is literally like that, which we're going to see in just a moment. You can create a new session, or you can hit this single red record button that does exactly that. It creates the session for you. It creates the track for you. The track is armed, and it's good to go. And you're immediately recording. Which is what I did in the case of working with my dad to capture his little idea. So we're going to take a little look at this. I'm not going to go into massive amounts of detail because really, to be honest, the best fun to be had with Fender Studio is basically just to download it and explore it. But what I will say, if you're a guitar person or a bass person, there's a bunch of fully modeled Fender guitar amps and cabs and various mic placements for those. And of course, there's the Fender Rumble for the bass guys, like me. I'm a bass player. So there's a nice bunch of bass settings as well. And it's very, very cool. Now, aside from being able to capture an idea really quickly and use virtual amps in order to do that, if you want to just practice your improv chops in a variety of different styles, well, this is, again, where Fender Studio can help you out. If you just want to relax and let your hair down and blow over some chord changes in a bunch of different styles, then you can do that, because there is a feature built into this called Jam Tracks, which is great because you basically, what there is a little library of backing tracks that are fully customizable. You can mute the bass if you're a bass player. You can mute your lead guitar if you're a lead guitar player. If you want to get your rhythm guitar playing up to snuff, you want to practice your rhythm guitar playing, you can mute the rhythm guitar. If you're a piano player, for the tracks that have got pianos on them, you can mute those and you can play yourself, or you can add to it. So if you decide you want to add a Fender Rhodes part to one of these jam tracks, you can do that just to, you know, play along with the band, so to speak. So those are really, really useful. And like I said, there are a bunch of amps. There's also a bunch of pedals as well, stomp box pedals. A little bit like the ones you've got in Empire, but they are a little bit different, a little bit unique. Not the same as the ones that are in Empire. And neither are these guitar amps, by the way. These are very different. It's not Empire from Studio One. This is different. This is an actual Fender guitar amp, Fender bass amp. The guitar amp is essentially a Mustang, and the bass amp is essentially a Rumble. But there are different settings that presets and things that will give you different tones for your different guitar amps or your different bass amps. And like I said, a bunch of pedals as well to that you can put in the signal chain from your guitar or your bass, going in through the pedals and then into the amp. And then if you want something at the end after the amp, but before it goes out to mains, you can do that too. So it's actually really, really cool. I have had a lot of fun testing it and essentially basically just playing with it, which is what I've been doing for the last wee while, actually. It's been a lot of fun. And if you're wondering kind of who is behind this, yes, it says Fender. It's a Fender app, but it's actually based on the Studio One code base. So it is built by the Presonus software team. So the guys and gals that have built Studio One, they are the ones that have also built Fender Studio. So you're getting the same expertise for Fender Studio as you would for Studio One as well. So it's very cool. Steve Wilson asks, does the app have drum beats? It doesn't technically. However, the jam tracks, for the most part, do have drum parts on them. And so you can, I guess you can kind of leave those in place and then delete everything else and build a song around one of those drum parts if you want. But there's not actually kind of preset drum beats like you would find in Easy Drummer or Addictive Drums or anything like that. No, it doesn't have those. So who do we have here? We don't have very many people because this is kind of an unusual show, shall we say. So I think hopefully people will catch this on the replay and will want to see this after the fact rather than being here live. And that's fine. So if you are watching on the replay and you have a question about Fender Studio, go into the comments section. It's either going to be over here or it's going to be down below. I'm not sure which it's going to be on a replay. But yes, you can ask your questions below. I think it's down below, actually. So yeah, you can ask some questions below and I will try and get in there and provide you with some answers if I know the answer. If I don't, I will defer to the Fender website where this is hosted, or where all the information that you can find on Fender Studio is located. And of course, there is a knowledge base as well. So you also get some additional goodies if you register the app with a Fender Connect account. So what does that mean? That means just like with Presonus, you create an account. So you do with Fender. Okay, so you go to fender.com and you can basically sign in there and you can create a Fender Connect account is what they call it there. And when you do that, then you can sign in to the Fender Studio app with your credentials for fender.com. And then you'll get some extra bits and pieces for doing that. Just Bob says, I missed the beginning. Is this separate from Studio One or is it included with Studio One sub? No, this is not Studio One. I repeat, this is not Studio One. This is a separate product made for Fender by the Presonus software team, but it is not a Presonus product. It is a Fender product. So no, it is not included with your Studio One Pro Plus subscription because it has nothing to do with Studio One in that respect. The only respect in which it has anything to do with Studio One is that it's based on the Studio One code base. That's pretty much it. But it's a separate application. It is Fender branded. It's not a Presonus product. So it doesn't, when you register it, it doesn't appear in your My Presonus account. And therefore it's not deposited in that account with your subscription either, because it's not part of the subscription. It's a completely separate application. All right, so we got Keith from Radio Top Trumpet here. We got Billy Morgan. We got Christina here as well over in Denmark, keeping things international. And we got Stephen Wilson here. We got Kyle Traduziak. We got Just Bob. We got Ron as well, also known as Keyman. And I think so far that is it. We've got like 13 people here. I'm thinking maybe as we go forward that that the room, so to speak, might fill up a little bit. No Fender Twin. Well, I'm going to show you some of the guitar amps in just a minute, so you'll get to see what those are for those of you that are guitar players. Now, bear in mind, folks, yes, I've been playing around with this for a wee while, but I don't know everything that there is to know about it, okay? I don't know every corner of it, but I have been playing with this for a little while. So I'm going to give you a little whistle-stop tour. And like I said, the best thing that you can do, because it doesn't cost you anything, is download it and check it out for yourself. And if you also go to the website, which I'm going to pull up for you just now. Hang on one moment. Fender.com. And I'm just waiting for it to fully load up. And I'm going to go find Fender Studio. There it is. Here we go. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this in the chat for you all. So you can go check out some of the basically some of the details, because it goes into some of the details for you. So let's go over to the screen here, and I'll put myself in the top corner. So this is the page for Fender Studio, and it gives you a direct download button here. But basically, this will take you to the App Store of whatever device you're looking at this on, and that's how it looks on a on an iPhone. Looks pretty cool, and you've got some pedals, as you can see here. And there's your guitar amp right there. And then we've got a compressor and an EQ, which you can adjust to your heart's content. And then we've got a mixer with these nice faders as well. Oh, and we've got the arranger track as well. For those of you that love to use the arranger track in Studio One, we've got that here as well. So it's pretty cool. And as you can see, there's the one button record that Andy Mooney talked about. I think maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, he mentioned this idea of a really stripped down, very bare bones, very basic recording app where you can just hit one button and get recording. And so here we are, Fender Studio. And like it says here, there's a bunch of professionally recorded multi-tracks ranging from pop ballads to heavy metal that you can transpose, mute solo, speed up or slow down, with new songs added all the time. So yes, there will be new jam tracks made available as we go forward into the future. And I would imagine that some of those would be paid and some of them would be not. And you can edit and mix your tracks using the EQ, compression, reverb, and delay. And there's vocoder and detuner for your voice effects and stuff as well. So, to answer Ron's question, this is what you get. So you get the 65 twin reverb guitar amp model. And you get the Rumble 800 bass amp head. You get a 59 Bassman, the Bass Breaker 15 medium gain, you get the Supersonic, you get the Red Head, and you get the Tube preamp, and you get all of these pedals. And you get all of these effects as well, including global transpose, metronome, and time stretching. And by the way, the time stretching is using the exact same time stretch algorithm that is in Studio One. It says here, register for free in the app to unlock anything that's got a star on it. Okay. So as standard, you don't get all of this stuff unless you register. Once you register, anything that's got a star on it, you get in addition. And there's some tutorial videos here, and there's a link here to the knowledge base. And it says here, plug into any compatible interface. So if you've got an audio interface that is USB-C and is class compliant or is able to operate in class compliant mode, then you can connect it to your device, your iPhone or your iPad or whatever, and you will get some pretty high quality sound going into the device. Zero latency monitoring as well, using the Fender Link IO, which was also launched today. And this gives you the ability to monitor with headphones as well as connect your guitar to this device. Excuse me, and record straight into whatever device you're recording into using Fender Studio. And then here are the links at the bottom of the page to get it from the Apple App Store, Google Play, Microsoft Store, or Linux. Now, notice there is only one thing here that says Apple App Store, okay? Because it's the same link whether you are on Mac or on an iOS device. If you click on this link on a Mac, it'll take you to the Mac App Store. If you click on that link on an iPad or an iPhone, it will take you to the iOS App Store. But you can also download it on Linux as well, for those of you that have Linux devices. And then for the best part here, Fender Studio was developed by the experts who brought you the award-winning digital audio workstation Studio One Pro. Ready to take your recording, producing, and mixing to the next level? Check out Studio One Pro for more. And there is a link here to the Studio One Pro 7 page where you can actually purchase Studio One if you are not already a Studio One user, a Studio One person. So that gives you a little bit of a whistle-stop tour over what it can do. And then all of those are all linked up here. I think this is pretty cool. I like this. I could sit and watch this for ages, by the way, because I think it's just such a cool little preview of what it looks like on an iOS device. But we all want to see what it's going to look like for real, right? Right. So let's go do that. Now, bear in mind, just for 1 second, we may get an audio dropout here, because when I click over to Fender Studio, which is down at the bottom here, it takes a second to realize I've done that. So bear with me. All right. We are over here. And this is now what it looks like. And we got this little hamburger menu here. You can do your audio setup here. And you can select your language. There's a user guide. I know Andy Mooney said there wouldn't be a need for a user guide, but yes, there is a need for a user guide. User guide's actually very, very simple. It's only got a few, a couple of paragraphs on the most important things. And notice that I'm signed into this as well. And then that takes you to the web page, and then this gives you all the about information, including the build and who it is that made Fender Studio. And as you can see here, these names may well be familiar to you because this is the Studio One team, pretty much. Okay, so let's go take a look at the jam tracks. So if I click on this, that takes us to this page here. Now, I've already registered, so I've got all of these. And there's some very good ones. And you can download them with the download button here, or you can just hit play here to preview them. So let's just preview a couple. right, so that gives you a flavor pretty much of all of them apart from one. And you can see that that's the one that I've downloaded, which is this blues one here. And I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like when you open one of these up in a session, and what you can do with it, and also I'll take you a little bit through the EQ, the compressor, all of those effects, and some of the amp stuff as well. So you get to see a little bit of everything. I'm not going to show you everything because, you know, this would turn into an epic, and I don't really want to turn this into an epic. It's just like one massive free commercial for Fender at the moment. But I don't want this to turn into an epic particularly. So there will be no other videos. I'm not going to make another video on Fender Studio. Unless like there's like a whole bunch of demand and a whole bunch of people are just like, hey, we've got questions about this. If there's like a load of questions that I get, then yes, I will make another video. But otherwise, this is gonna be it. So really, I'd prefer it if you got your questions in now. If you're here live, if you're watching on the replay, if you got questions, then you can ask me those questions in the comments after the fact. And I will try and answer your questions there via text. And if actually I think that there's sufficient questions or enough questions where I need to actually demonstrate something, then I will make another video that will demonstrate some of those things and answer some of those questions. Basically, I'm going to be guided by you guys and comments and stuff that you leave either after the fact or in the chat just now. So if you're here now and you're watching now, and you are not subscribed, you're not going to be able to ask a question. So hit that subscribe button and select all notifications so you don't miss anything else that I have coming for this year on this channel. And by the way, this is the very first Fender product that I have done a video on or a review of ever on this channel. This channel, by and largely, is strictly speaking a PreSonus and Studio One kind of channel. The only time where we don't really get DAW specific is on Wednesdays for Songwriting Simplified, where, you know, it's kind of they are much more open to using other software and that kind of thing. Albeit I do demonstrations in Notion and Studio One for that particular live stream show, and that's on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central. So like tomorrow, in actual fact. So yeah, tomorrow will be Songwriting Simplified. So we can talk songwriting there, and maybe we can talk about Fender Studio in the context of songwriting and just knocking out ideas really quickly. Because actually it's so simple to use, man. It's so quick and easy to get something going in Fender Studio. It's ridiculously easy. In fact, like there is just the one, you know, the record now button. You hit that and it creates a session with a track and off you go. Especially if you're a guitar player, because it creates just a guitar track for you. If you're not a guitar player, then you need to go and change that, but that's okay. That's not that difficult to do. And yes, it is a Tuesday. So for those of you that are kind of wondering what the heck is this and what are we talking about, we are talking about Fender Studio, which has just been released today. Here it is, Fender Studio. And no, this is not a replacement for Studio One. For those of you that are even thinking that, shame on you for thinking that. No, I'm kidding, not shame. I don't heap shame on anybody. But yeah, no, this is not a replacement for Studio One. I think this is, in some respects, it could be considered an accessory to Studio One. In as much as it's a recording app, and you can use it on pretty much any device. You can use it on PC like I have here, but you can have it on an iPhone, an iPad, an Android phone, one of those Galaxy Tab things, which is the equivalent of the iPad. A Chromebook, you can have it on a Linux machine as well. So there's a bunch of machines that you can have it on that Studio One doesn't really work on. For example, iPads. There is no version of Studio One for iPad. So this kind of does kind of fit in that little niche a little bit. And just also so that everybody knows, this is actually built on the Studio One code base. So essentially under the hood, this is Studio One. It just has Fender Studio written on it, and there are it has its own skin, and there are features that are in Studio One that you'd never actually get to see. They are hidden, and so it's a Fender product, and it's not a PreSonus product, albeit it's built by the PreSonus team. It's a Fender product. It's when you register it, you don't register it to My PreSonus. You register it with a Fender Connect account. So you need to create a Fender Connect account at fender.com, and then you can basically sign in with those credentials. And it will register it. You'll get a little message that pops up saying, "Thank you for registering Fender Studio." You'll get a little email that gets automatically sent to that email address that you've used. And also all of those jam tracks that I just showed you will be unlocked. All 20 of them. If you don't register, you only get like 3, I think. And you don't get all of the amps and stuff either. You only get like 1 bass amp and 1 guitar amp. I think that's right. But if you register, you get a few more unlocked as well. And of course, as we go forward into the future, who knows what's going to be added to this little app? There could be a whole bunch of new stuff added to this app. So it's very, very cool. I really actually have immensely enjoyed playing with this. There's our little record button. If you just hit this, it will create a new session. We'll do that in just a minute. Or you can create a blank new session. But what I want to do... Brett says, are those jam tracks without the download icon not available? The one that I showed you here that does not have this download icon is because I have already downloaded it. Okay? So if it has the download icon, it is available to you to download. It's just this one here, Midnight Crying, which I have already downloaded. Once you've downloaded it on this device that I'm using, my PC, then the download button goes away because it's already downloaded. Just Bob says, can you create your own tracks with the amps and foot pedals and export to a file and use them in Studio One? You can. You can use the DAW project file format to export to Studio One. But there's no kind of instantaneous send to Studio One. Like you can with Notion. At the moment, one of the things you can do with Notion, if you have purchased the feature bundle, or if you are a member of Studio One Pro Plus, you can basically transmit between devices on Notion Mobile, and also you can transmit between Notion and Studio One instantly. You cannot do that with Fender Studio. That is not a thing in Fender Studio. So you have to export it as a DAW project file, and then you open it in Studio One as a DAW project file, and then when you do that, it basically becomes a .song file at that point. Okay, Brett says, sorry, missed where you explained it, was having some connection issues. No problem at all. All right, so Just Bob says, Studio One people collabed with Fender and put this out. Look up in chat, Mike. There is a link. It's just a transition. It's not a transition. I don't know what that means. I really don't know what you mean by it's a transition. But yeah, basically, this is a Fender product, as I've said, built by the Studio One team. All right, so let's go back over here and let's actually open this session I was going to show you. Hang on. Hang on. There we go. Okay, my sound is now back. Yes, it takes a second for OBS to pick up my sound from this. I don't know why. I've been trying to figure that out all day, actually. So this is that Midnight Crying. Plus, I've added a Fender Rhodes track here for the Fender Rhodes here. Garish chord there. But as you can see, my my Nord is connected to my interface and is selected as an input and is available here on this particular track here, which is very cool. So let's have a play of this. Now I have no, I haven't muted anything yet. So let's have a listen. No, that's the wrong damn button. That's Studio One. Now, the cool thing is about this is I can add to this. I can add my Fender Rhodes to this if I want to. Or I could just mute the, not that one, mute the lead guitar. And I can actually put my own lead part on the top if I want to. Now, this is originally recorded in E flat. And as you can see, we've got the key set here as F, and it's transposed up by 2 from E flat to F. I can set that back down if I want to, and I can also change the key back to E flat. I don't mind playing in E flat blues. I just thought it sounded better. Audio only on PC or MIDI as well. Yeah, this is only audio. It's not, there is no MIDI capabilities yet. That's for the future, maybe. We'll see. But this is like the very first initial build of this, so it's designed to be very bare bones basic, mainly because it's designed to be able to run on one of these, on a cell phone, right? It's meant to be a mobile device. That's its primary function. So, you know, mobile cell phones, iPads, that kind of thing, they're not really known for great MIDI capabilities. But who knows what the future holds? I don't know, actually. To tell you the truth, I actually genuinely don't know whether there will be MIDI for Fender Studio or not. We'll have to wait and see. One of the things I really do like is the look of these fader caps. These fader caps look pretty much exactly like the ones that I'm looking at now physically on my Studio Live mixer. They look exactly like the Studio Live mixer fader caps. It's very, very cool. The graphics of these is very, very nice indeed. So essentially, yes, treat it like a multi-track tape recorder for now and see what the future holds. Maybe there may be some MIDI connectivity in the future. We'll have to see where it goes from that POV. So this is the mixer. You can turn that off if you want to, and you can look at the audio events where you can do some gain editing. You can do some fades, that kind of stuff. You can trim, you can split. You can do a few very bare bones basic things. And then if you click on this I button here, this is the inspector. When you open this inspector, this is what you get. You get the track details here, including time stretch and transpose. Make sure these guys are on all the time, and the color and the icon. And then you get this here. This is the compressor and EQ. As you can see, it's pretty basic. It's only got 3 bands. The bottom one defaults initially as a high pass filter. It's smart. It's a bit like the channel strip in Studio One. in as much as it's a high pass filter until you get to a certain point, and then it becomes a notch filter instead. And then you get a 1 knob delay, 1 knob reverb, 1 knob expander, 1 knob compressor. And actually the compressor is pretty darn good. To me, the compressor and expander, in fact, this entire channel strip here, minus the reverb and delay, sound exactly like the channel strip plugin in Studio One. If you're familiar with that, with that and what that looks like. To me, it looks and sounds pretty much exactly the same. It's nice, clean, crisp, doesn't get in the way, is designed to do what you want. And there's a bunch of presets for it as well. And you can save your own user presets. You can use this plus button. You can basically save whatever you want, and then it will be listed under user. At the moment, I don't have any. I'm going to hit cancel here. And then under effects here, seeing as this is a guitar, what we can do is we can go to guitar effects. Now, notice what has happened here. This has popped up. Now you can see the Fender Twin, which is very, very cool. And then you've got some nice factory presets here. So we can put on the, let's go for the Twin Blues on this. And you'll see here that if you click on it, you get this expanded lick, you get the overdrive, and you get the room reverb as well. Now, there's obviously, when you listen to this lead guitar part, there was already some processing on it. It had already been recorded using this setup, most likely. So this is already kind of baked in. But if you want to do your own lead guitar part, instead of the one that's here, you can just select this event and you can delete it. It's gone. And then you can just record your own lead guitar part over these chord changes following this song form, if you want to. Likewise, you can replace the piano part. If you think, like I personally do, I think the piano is really rather twee. It's not the kind of thing that I would ever play, even when I'm playing in a blues kind of, in a blues band kind of context. I would never play the things that are on here. That's just me personally. And so that's that for the guitar. Now, if we were to go over to the bass, now you'll see I have the bass amp here. And again, you can select some different presets here. And for right now, I'm just using the basic Bassman. Because for this song, I thought it sounded pretty good. So I just left it as it is. But, you know, you can add in some pedals if you want to. So, you know, if I wanted to add something after the fact, I could add that after the fact. But I you know what, I really don't want to. You know, maybe I'll add a compressor after the fact. Maybe I'll just, you know, leave it like that. And close that. And so now we've got a bass and we've got a compressor. We've got a compressor after the fact. We probably should put the compressor before, to be honest. And that's fine. What we can do is we can remove that. And then we can go here and we can go Dynamics and EQ, and we can just grab this. And we'll just leave it set like that. So now we've got the bass guitar signal going into the compressor and then into the amp. And we'll just leave it like that. And we can hear what that sounds like. And again, if I wanted to actually record on this, I can do that. So, you know, like we are in. So I'm just going to record some random stuff. Etc, etc. And then, you know, if I want to increase the gain on that, I can do that, and I can, you know, do a nice little fade in here, for example, and then I can play it. And so on and so forth. So you can add to these jam tracks. You can record your own improvisations. You can change the key if you want to test yourself and see, can I do this in the key of F sharp? Just shift it up another notch. So, you know, instead of making this transposed up 2 from the original key of E flat, just push it up another 1. So it's now transposed up 3. Everything will transpose, and you'll be in the key of F sharp, and you'll be playing a blues in F sharp. So if you like to play in F sharp, like Tim mentioned, then go ahead and do it. Let's see. Just Bob has a bunch of commentary here. Brett Marler says, can you import files, or are you limited to what is in the software? You can import some files. So if you've got some audio files that you want to add to this, or, you know, maybe you've done something in Studio One and you want to add you want to bring that into Fender Studio. You can bring the stems into Studio One via DAW project. That should not be a problem. Let's see. Just Bob says, kind of like Positive Grid and other processor type pedals and amps like Katana. Yeah, kinda, yeah. But they're all modeled by our space our state space modeling guys over in the Hamburg team, in the PSL team. They basically gathered into they crammed the studio full of amps and pedals, and they modeled everything down to the component level, obsessively to the component level. Let's see. Just Bob says, this is great. This is a great improvement in the Fender C legacy for sure. Or innovation. Matt Cochran's here as well. Just Bob says, can you duplicate, or do you have to record the whole song? Yeah, I don't think there is a duplicate. I mean, oh, you can. You just press D, much like you can in Studio One. That's handy to know. So if I highlight that and press D, and I can also press Control Z to undo. That's handy. To be honest, I had never noticed that you could do that. I had never noticed that there was a duplicate button, command there. Shame on me for not knowing that. And of course, you can create crossfades with X as well. So you can cut, you can copy, you can delete. Presumably, if you can copy, you can also paste. But you can certainly duplicate, and you can crossfade as well. So if, like, you want to reuse this phrase somewhere else, you can duplicate it. And let's say you want to use this on, I don't know, you want to use that here on chorus turnaround 2. Probably won't work, but let's try it. Yeah, kind of doesn't work. But you could certainly do that in Essence, for sure. So I am going to delete that. But yeah, so if you are a drummer, even, let's unmute the lead guitar. You can mute the drums. So yeah, you could certainly mute any of these parts and record your own if you want to. Brett says, so you can actually create a part in Studio One with a virtual instrument and transform it to audio and move that over. I don't know. The best way to find out is to try it, Brett. The software, you know, Fender Studio is free. Go download, go install, register it, and then try that and see what happens. Let us know. Let us know what you find out. It's not a bad little idea, not a bad little suggestion. Kyle says, where do we go from here? Which is the way that's clear? Oh, nice little rhyme. I like that. That's very good. All right, has anybody got any other questions about Fender Studio? It is very, very cool. It's a very fun little app. And like I said, it's so quick and easy just to get going and creating. So, you know, if you are in that place where you are on holiday and you happen to have taken your acoustic guitar with you and you happen to have also taken an iPad with you, there's nothing stopping you getting some songs down. Because you don't have to use something like the Link IO. You can just use the built-in mic on your iPad and just position it right. And that's going to be half the battle. Just position it right so that you are getting a good balance of your voice and your guitar, and you can just, effectively just create a guitar track, create a voice track, set them to the same input. That's okay to do that. And then, just record. And then you've got a vocal track and a guitar track. Or you just record one track. And just use the microphone, use positioning the iPad to get the balance right between the guitar and your voice, and sing louder, play quieter as you need to, do some test recordings, and then away you go. You can actually just use Fender Studio just to get some songs down whilst you're on holiday. And then you can use Door Project to send those to Studio One, open them up in Studio One, and then you can add what other instrumentation you want to add, and you can do some other mixing and processing there. Brett says, I could see this being useful at an open stage where you could have your songs loaded for your set, then show up with your device and run that through the sound system to perform along with. Yeah, if you've got multi-track files, potentially you could use it like that. But really, that's what the Studio One show page is for. And it's actually, the show page is much better equipped for doing live performances, to be honest. But like I said, if you've got songs created in Fender Studio as multi-tracks, then yeah. But here's the thing. You're going to have to open the songs one at a time. So between songs, it's not like the show page where you can just start the show and the show will run the whole duration and it will, have the gaps built in, because you can set the gaps between each song, so you can engage with the audience, or you can retune your guitar if you know roughly how long it's going to take you to do that. you can set the show page in Studio One to have a gap between each song of that duration, so that you can retune your guitar for, doing something dadgad, doing something in standard tuning, or, some other exotic tuning that you might want to do for your guitar. It's the show page is much better equipped for live performance than this. This is really much for kind of getting some demos done, doing some practice, and getting germinal song ideas down. Let's see. Just Bob says, thank you for showing this. This is really cool. Better than downloads from an unknown source from Play Store of Apple app site. This is a trusted source. Yeah, Google Play is a trusted source. Apple App Store is also a trusted source. And that's where you can get this from. You cannot get it direct from Fender.com. You can only get it from the App Store, Google Play, Microsoft, or you can download it from Linux. There's a couple of download buttons for Linux. If we go back over there, you can see that here. So these buttons will take you to direct links, depending upon what device you're on. So if you go to this page on your device, you can get it from either of those, or you can just open, if you've got these apps installed on your devices, and let's face it, most devices have those on them. So like, for example, the Samsung phones, they all have Google Play on them. PCs have the Microsoft Store on them. Macs have the App Store. iPads have the App Store. So just open up those apps and download from there. Would be the key thing to do. And my phone just farted at me. How rude. Just Bob says, to use to record stuff, Lilith only knows what they're... I don't know what that means. Sites within Google Play and Apple can't trust. Well, the Google Play is a trusted source for a whole bunch of apps, including some PreSonus ones, actually. So I don't know what you mean by sites within those. Just open the App Store on your device and download from there. Don't worry about other extraneous websites, because those aren't authorized. If you want to get this, if you want to get Fender Studio, you have to get it from the app stores. You can't get them from outside of the app stores. And if somebody points you to another source that's not correct, that's not real, then don't get it from there. Basically, is what I would say. It would be great for a quick sketch pad on the go as well. I was just thinking outside the box as far as how it could be used, not just its intended use. Yeah, Sketchpad is definitely one of the target usages, if I can say that. For sure. I mean, that's what I've been using it for. The last few months while we've been working on this, and developing it. So I've actually been, I've been all over I've been traveling a fair bit recently. And so whilst I've been on planes or trains, or buses, I've got my iPad out and, my Bluetooth headphones, and off I go. I'm just creating. And it's worked pretty well. I can play you, if I can find it, in Studio One. It was a while ago that I did this, so I have to try and find it. So I did I did something that I created on Fender Studio, and then I sent it to Studio One via the DAW project, and I did a little bit of additional processing, but I recorded everything on the iPad app, apart from the Fender Rhodes, which you're about to hear, which is my Nord. But the vocal was recorded just using the built-in mic on the iPad. And I think you will agree it sounds pretty good. And this is basically a parody of a well-known Lionel Richie song, which I probably shouldn't play because I'll probably get a copyright strike, but I will play just like a few seconds of it. But it's not the real song. So for those of you out there in YouTube land that think this is the real song, it's not. Hello, is it me you're looking for? Well, I farted in your bed, and I farted in your chair. So let's start by saying, farty pants. There you go. That's probably going to get me a copyright strike. Right there. And if it does, it's fine. I don't really care particularly. But I thought that would amuse. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Some apps are superior to others, no doubt. Yeah, some apps are. I happen to think that this is pretty darn good. So, I'm very pleased with how it came out, actually. Just Bob says, I'm saying that there are a lot of recording apps from unknown sources. I don't trust these sites that you can download and then that have no pedigree, just their Fender. Oh, gotcha. Okay, I understand. I understand what you mean now. What you mean is when you go to the App Store, you can find apps from all sorts of developers and you probably don't know who they are. And I get that. So yes, I would definitely recommend that you don't do that. If you are after a recording app for your iPhone, your iPad, then Fender Studio is the thing. Definitely. If you are after notation for your iPhone, for your iPad, for your Android phone, then Notion Mobile is definitely the thing to get, for sure, especially with the interoperability with Studio One. Being able to compose in Notion Mobile and send that directly to Studio One is the bomb, as my kids like to say. I don't know what it means, but I think it's good. Brett says it's worth it for all the inner 12-year-olds within us. Yes, absolutely, and that's why I did it. But basically what I wanted to show was how you can start something in Fender Studio and you can kind of finish it off a bit in Studio One. I had to do a decent amount of processing with the vocal that I got from the iPad because, hey, it's an iPad mic. But at the end of the day, it actually turned out pretty good. I was not too terribly disappointed with it, to be fair. And so I could, if I really wanted to, expand that out into a full-blown arrangement with, the Persona Symphonic Orchestra to boot. And maybe, I could persuade some people to do some angelic choral-like sounds. Not my kids. They're not mature enough for that. But yeah, I could certainly go completely Phil Spector on that 15-second parody of a certain Lionel Richie song. Anyway, I think what we'll do is we'll call it the end of the show there. Thank you very much to all 19 or 20 of you that were here and the 15 likes. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you guys a lot. If you are not subscribed yet, please do hit the subscribe button and select all notifications. It helps me, it helps you, because you get to find out when these things happen, like these extra special lives, which I'm going to be doing some more of, by the way. But they're not going to be fixed. They will be a little bit random. So you got to kind of be on your toes. So make sure you are subscribed as I do some of those. And basically they will just be, kind of open-ended. And, I will do different things. Like maybe I will record a song from scratch or something like that. Or I'll set myself some ridiculous improvisational challenge like doing 2-5-1s in all 12 major and minor keys. At 300 beats a minute, things like that. I'll be doing silly little challenges like that right in front of your face on my channel on these extra special lives, just because I think it might be fun to do. So, but like I said, they're not going to be planned. They will be unannounced. You'll just see it happen. So if you are subscribed and you've got that notification bell hit, you'll get a notification saying, "Hey, extra special live will be going live at X time." But tomorrow is Songwriting Simplified. So we could maybe talk about Fender Studio as a songwriting tool over there. That might be fun to do. And we could talk about how you can, get like a rough sketched out thing done on the iPad or on an iPhone or on your PC or your Mac, whatever it is you want to do, and show you how you can do that, and we can do a little bit more in depth on the recording aspects of the application. Maybe we could do that and talk about it as a songwriting device and songwriting tool that you can then go and do further stuff with Studio One via the DAW project. File format. So if you guys are up for that, come back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central, midnight UK. So an hour later than we were tonight. So back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central. I don't know what that is in Mountain Time. Basically, if you are in a different time zone than the UK, Europe, or Central Daylight Time in the United States, and you don't know how to work out what time that is, go to dateandtime.com and you should be able to work it out from there. You should be able to, in fact, it should show you what time that is for your location. So if you're in Australia, if you're in New Zealand, if you're somewhere else on this glorious spherical earth of ours, then you should be able to find out what time that is there. Okay. See you tomorrow, folks, for Songwriting Simplified. Good night. If I hit the right buttons. Good night, everybody.